Stop being so emotional. It's just money. In 2025, I have seen more people stressed about money than ever before. And it's honestly quite sad. I mean, growing up, we're all told, hey, you have to get a great education. You have to go to college. You have to graduate. You have to get into student debt. You have to then go find a job. Then you have to work 40 years. Maybe you get to retire. Maybe take a few, paid weeks off and vacation, right? But what if I told you that you don't have to be emotional about money and you don't have to make all of your decisions based on money, whether that's the trip that you take with your kids, whether that's the car that you drive, whether it's the house that you live in? What if I told you that you don't have to make all of these decisions based on money? Well, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why you do not have to make these emotional decisions and how instead you can start using logic so you can start making more money, have a better life, and live ultimately with a lot more freedom. So let's first break down how the majority of people actually generate income. And let me preface this by saying that all of these things are very important to society. Without any of these jobs, society would be a much worse off place. So, for some people, right, this is going to be the safest route. And if you're not emotional about money right now and you feel like you make enough to live the life that you want, then by all means, please continue. But if you're on the other side of this and you want to make more while worrying less and also not working as much, right, then listen up because this video is going to be for you. So let's take us to the normal 9 to 5 jobs. So we have teachers. I personally think teachers should make a lot more. I think teachers should honestly be some of the highest paid people in our society. But that's besides the point here. We have doctors, we have maybe Uber drivers, we have lawyers, and we just have your typical employee, right? Now, the problem, right, with all of these jobs, nothing inherently is wrong with them, right? But the reality is that all of these jobs, you have to trade time for money, right? Now, if I'm someone working a normal 9 to 5 job and I have my rent coming up, right? I have bills coming up, I have medical issues I have to take care of. Why might I be concerned about money? Well, if I don't have enough to make the rent at the end of the month, and the only way I can get more money is by trading time, the only limited resource I have, but I can't work enough hours in my day while still staying sane, healthy, right? And just like able to live a life. Well, yeah, I'm going to be pretty fucking stressed about money, right? Because the reality is that we only have 24 hours in the day. And maybe you sleep 6, maybe you sleep 8 hours. And right there, that already takes you down to 16. Now, let's say you commute to work, right? You drive 1 to 2 hours of work, right? Well, that takes another time off that you're also not getting paid, right? So then you have 14 hours to work and to ultimately live, right? Let's say you work 8 hours, so you have 6 hours to live. Well, if you're spending 6 hours, just kind of messing around, hanging out with friends, watching Netflix, doing other things, right, that are not taking you towards this, well, then you can't really be complaining, right? But if, on the other hand, you're trying to work all 14 hours, you're stressed because you're almost running out of time and you can't generate enough income to take care of all the bills that you need to, then sure, I can see why you might be emotional about money, right? Because the reality is that the majority of the American working class trades this limited resource time for money. And that is why, right, money is the root cause for most problems in this world. So how can you actually go from this spectrum here, where we're trading time, right, this person plus the clock, for money, to instead coming over to the other side of this equation where we're trading a non-limited resource, an unlimited, right, resource that has infinite abundance, which is value, for this resource of money, right? How can we actually come over from trading time for money to value for money, where we're actually bringing value to society? Well, before even diving into that, I do want to get into the pros and cons. Now, the pros about a 9 to 5 job is that you have a salary, right? So you have a set income that you know is coming in, right? And I think the problem with a set income is that this makes us comfortable, right? Most jobs give you enough money so you're comfortable, right? And you won't leave and you can pay your bills and do stuff, but you can't actually live a life of freedom that you actually want to, right? The pros, right? Maybe you only work 40 hours, so maybe that's good. So maybe you don't really like to work, you like living life. So maybe you just have to work 40 hours, right? Um, Pros, maybe you have good workplace environment. Maybe. The majority of people I know don't like their work though, so that could also be a con, right? Um, and I mean, from the maybe 1.5 years I've ever worked a normal 9 to 5 job, right? I wouldn't really say there's any other con or any other pros, right? It's not great. Now, on the other hand, we have the cons, right? And the cons are pretty much the same as the pros. The cons is that you have a salary, right? You have a capped income, right? You can never make more unless, right, you get your like 2% raise from your boss at the end of the year, right? The cons, you know, 2 week vacation time, that's a joke, right? What else? Oh, maybe a pro is like you get health benefits, maybe. But once again, I mean, you're not making enough money, so you like just make more money and then pay for your own health care, right? What would be cons? I mean, you have no freedom, right? Someone tells you when to show up, when to clock in, when to clock out. For 50 weeks of the year, someone else pretty much owns you, right? So 50 weeks of life. Eh. So that is the reality for most people. And some people are super happy with this, which is great, right? Now, let's look on the other side, right? We have something like either starting a business or learning sales, right? And in this world, in this current day and age, right, there's only two ways to have unlimited income potential. And that's either by starting a business, which is very difficult. You need 20, 30, 40 different skill sets to actually have a successful business and not and like continue to operate and actually make money, right? So a business is out of the picture. On the other hand, though, we have something like sales and remote triaging, right? Where you're actually paid for the value that you bring to a business, right? So instead of trading time, this limited resource, you're trading value, which is unlimited resource, right, for money. Because it doesn't matter if a sale takes you 10 hours or if it takes you 30 minutes, you are paid the same, right? If you sell something for $10,000 and you make 10%, on that deal, on the top line revenue from that deal, right? You make $1,000. It doesn't matter if that sale took you 10 hours. It doesn't matter if that sale took you 5 minutes, right? And understanding this equation, I mean, this is essentially the value creation, right? Understanding that if I can be this person here, right, and I'm able to add more value to a business, to a company, right, then I can generate an infinite amount of this resource, right? And this is what the top 1% understand, right? The top 1% of society understands this equation is that the only way to have an infinite earning potential is to be being in something like sales and, I mean, in this case, remote triaging, right? So what are the pros? Or let's start with the cons, right? The cons is that there is no salary, right? And most people are like, Kekoa, I don't really want to get into sales because there's no comfort of a job, right? I mean, sure. I mean, if you like having a capped income, If you like just taking 2 weeks of vacation time, if you like not having freedom, then yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Right? But if you're anything like me, right, then you're okay with this con of no salary, right? This is also probably going to be uncomfortable, right? No salary, uncomfortable, right? I mean, that doesn't sound super fun. And that's why most people don't live the life that they want, is because they're not willing to make a sacrifice. It's like, what sacrifice do you want to make? You want just 2 weeks of vacation for the rest of life? I mean, that just couldn't be me, you know? I mean, these are the tough conversations that you have to have with yourself. So cons, no salary, uncomfortable. I mean, honestly, I can't really think of any others, right? What are the pros? No cap on income. You choose your own hours. Um, right? Because we're doing remote triaging, we're not doing like door to door sales or cold calling or any of this other BS. You can be fully remote, right? What else? Paid on value, right? So not trading time for money. Because we already know that to live a life of freedom and real wealth, you cannot trade time for money, right? Right? You can scale your income. It's actually scalable. And heck, if you wanted to work just 6 months out of the year, you could do that because you could make more money in that time because once again, you're not paid on your time, right? And you actually have real freedom, right? Now, if you want to get started and actually learning how to do this, I have a 105-minute free training, which is linked on the top link here in the description, right? That's going to also give you access to a full 7-hour free course. That's also going to show you exactly how to get started with remote triaging and online sales and start making income, right? Where you're actually paid on your value and not your time, right? But to give you guys a quick breakdown for how this works, right? Because now we know that you can only trade value for money, right? If you actually want to build real wealth. But there's a simple 5-step process that you can actually start using to get going, right? So we have a 5-step process to actually do this, right? And the good thing is that this is pretty simple to learn, right? There's a lot of nuances, and that's ultimately what we show you inside of our programs, right? Modern SDR, right? But we have rapport, right? We have discovery, misspelled that. We have pitch, we have price drop, and like temp checks, and then we have objection handling, right? So to actually start learning this skill of sales, you just need to know this 5-step framework, right? Build rapport, understand current situation, desired situation, how to bridge this gap, right? We have to know how to pitch our product or service. We have to know how to correctly go through the price and actually kind of breaking everything down for the prospect. And we have to know how to handle objections. And if we can do that, we can take this skill set and plug this into an already existing business that already has leads, they already have attention, and they already have people that are wanting to buy their products and service, right? Well, heck, if we're selling a $10,000 product, make 10% commission on that, right? Which is really like 20 to 30% of the final profit, right, from the business on their P&L statements, right? And that's how you can start getting paid for your value and not your time, and stop being emotional about money ever again. So I hope this video was helpful. If you didn't know my name is Kekoa. CEO, founder of the Modern SDR, and we actually teach people how to learn this skill of remote triaging for a living. Like, this is what I do. We're pretty fucking good at sales, right? So if you want to make a heck of a lot more money, if you're sick of trading this limited resource, time, for dollars, if you want to trade value for dollars, well, that's exactly what we do. You can watch that 105-minute free training, top link, 7-hour free course, and then there's going to be obviously links and places you can DM me on Instagram. You can DM me the word YouTube on Instagram, and I'll help you out and show you how. So I hope you have a great day. It is 5 a.m. right now, 5:29 on Sunday morning. I woke up at 3:45 today and could not get back to sleep. So we ended up filming this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.